Alright, so let's talk about episode Shadow. I mentioned in my last video about Sonic Forces, which you should probably check out by the way, that I was going to be talking about episode Shadow in a separate video because it really doesn't get the appreciation that it deserves. Episode Shadow is basically sort of like the hard mode of 3 of Sonic's levels in Sonic Forces. And unlike most of Sonic's levels, episode Shadow can actually be pretty challenging at times. The game asks for your patience in the level design and your knowledge of how the game feels and plays. And although the stages themselves are only a little bit longer, episode Shadow is still only like 3 stages. So if you know what you're doing and you're really good at the game, you'll probably get through this pretty quickly. But like most Sonic levels, they're fun to replay through. Now, instead of just talking about the gameplay and level design itself, let's talk about why episode Shadow even exists. Episode Shadow is basically a prequel to the events of Sonic Forces where Shadow sees Infinite before he's, well, Infinite. He's just some kind of edgy mercenary. And Shadow beats him so hard, he cries like a baby.
Fight back!
Then Shadow puts him in his place. For some reason I have my voice settings on the Japanese dub, which made this sound more dramatic than it was, and Infinite cry like a baby is even more funny. Well, dang. With how hard Shadow just folded him, I'm surprised he isn't like crying over his broken back. And then he becomes Infinite. So I guess we can kind of blame Shadow for the plot of this game. You still weak though. Okay, back to the levels themselves. I'm gonna try to like rank all 3 levels because like, I don't know, there's only 3 levels. I had my fair share of actual fun with all 3 of them because they were actually interesting to play. Even though Sonic Forces is a chill game to play because of how like easy it is, episode Shadow might actually have you at your seats a bit because of everything that's going on. And it's kind of fun to just master these stages because of how challenging they are. But I'm gonna start ranking, and I'll say like my least favorite is Eggman's Facility, which you're seeing on screen right now. Now, quick correction, all these stages are not all modern Sonic stages. This stage is based on Mystic Jungle Aqua World, which is an Avatar stage. Both stages are kind of around the same length and they're kind of almost as easy, but Shadows is just only a little bit harder, but not too hard. I do enjoy the satisfaction of hitting the golden enemies and getting rings out of them, which was not in the original stage. But even so, this stage is just okay. It isn't bad or anything, it's just my least favorite. Next up I put Enemy Territory, which is basically Shadow's version of Sunset Heights. Most of the 3D isn't sent just boosting around despite me doing so at like the very beginning. It also includes some slowing down and some quick movement around these spike balls spinning around, so you gotta be careful there. It also includes some enemies that shoot at projectiles, which you can indeed homing attack in order to stop. I actually got some fun out of the 2D section as well, as it's the same amount of difficulty, with the spike balls still spinning around and you having to be careful to like jump onto platforms since you don't want to get hit obviously. It's actually a really decent challenge. And it's really fun to master, but that can kind of be said for every other stage of Sonic Forces because speedrunning this game I've heard is really fun. But yeah, overall I like Enemy Territory, easy second place. And number 1 for me is Virtual Reality, which might be a shock because this level is all 2D. This stage is easily the most challenging of them all, so it's kind of obvious about why I have it so high up despite it being, you know, all 2D. The platforming has to be right on time and really precise, especially with the red spinning cube dinghies. I actually died a few times on this level because of them, which makes mastering this stage and trying to go fast on it even more satisfying to do. It's also the longest out of the 3 stages, so of course I got a lot of enjoyment out of this one. So yeah, I personally think that this is the best episode Shadow stage. But even so, episode Shadow is still 3 stages, therefore it's still really short, and I feel like that you can really get through it after like a couple minutes if you know what you're doing. I wish that the episode Shadow was like longer and had more stages in it, but at least you can play a Shadow in the other stages when you get them. Because come on man, who doesn't want to play a Shadow? But that's all I have to say about episode Shadow. This is my favorite part of Sonic Forces, and now let's go ahead and get on to the extras. I felt like I didn't really give too much credit out to the Avatar, and one of the few things that I didn't give credit to is the costumes. The customization in this game is honestly really amazing, and I really did sleep on it a little bit because there is a lot of stuff you can put on in this game. So the amount of personalization on the avatar is top notch. I mean, come on, this game has Sonic t-shirts, a Persona 5 costume, a Puyo Puyo costume, a Monkey Ball costume, a Knights costume, and a Jet Set Radio costume. Like, you can't be mad at this. Oh, and this is what I came up with. The last thing that I want to mention is the speedrunning scene, because I know that this game is an absolute blast to speedrun, and I might get myself into it. The way the game plays alongside how the engine works makes things really satisfying to just speed through, especially with like the air boost and stuff. This game is just like really satisfying to speedrun, is what I'm trying to say. But with that, that's all I really have to finally say about Sonic Forces alongside its extras and Episode Shadow. What do you guys think about Episode Shadow and the other extras in Sonic Forces? Let me know down in the comments below, and let me know about like anything that I missed about this game. Because truth be told, I've actually been playing this game a lot than I anticipated, so yeah. But that's all I have to say. I'll see you guys in another video.